Hey folks, I'm Rebecca and we are here. We are in Texas. We are about 10 miles from the southern border and we're just a little bit outside Brackettville. Uh, Stay with us and take a look at what we're going to show you folks. We're actually going to be meeting with an incredible family. They are members of AMAC and they're going to show us firsthand what they're dealing with on their ranch. Tomorrow, as part of this episode, we will be meeting with our friends in Del Rio, Texas, and we've got a lot of exciting things that we're going to be sharing with you folks. So here we are. AMAC is here. Why isn't Biden or Kamala? We can't answer that question, but we're glad that you're tuning in with us today. This is great. Stay tuned, folks. So we are out here, that is AMAC is here in Texas. We're right outside Brackettville, and I'm joined today by Lisa and Stan, and maybe we can have Stan join us in just a few minutes. And for those of you watching or listening, Lisa and Stan are lifetime AMAC members. And the reason why we wanted to be here today with you is really to show our AMAC membership firsthand so that they could hear and perhaps even see what's really happening at the southern border. I'm a member of the Texas Border Coalition. Tomorrow, AMAC will be joining DPS. And who else are we joining?
Texas National Guard.
Texas National Guard. We'll be out really taking a closer look at what's happening, but we are trying to come up with solutions. In the meantime, Lisa, you have been on this gorgeous ranch for generations, 36 years and generations before. Tell us about the history of this ranch. Little bit history.
This ranch was purchased by Augustus Beidler, so same family name there, from Chicago as a wedding gift to his children, his son, and they came out here and ranched. The land was purchased in 1907, and the house was probably built in 1911, completion of it. And my husband grew up out here. I grew up in town. And he was the rancher of the family. So he just started taking an interest in cattle, sheep, goats, and enjoyed his childhood out here, grew up, went to college, came back and ranched. And
it's a beautiful story.
Loved it. We loved raising our children here. It was a wonderful, idyllic life. And I taught school and then retired last year. Thank you, COVID. And now here we are. We're settled into our retirement years and grandparenting. And the ranch has been just a solid part of our life and a solid part of raising our children with a good work ethic and an understanding of what it means to be good stewards of the land.
Oh, and just as I look around at this gorgeous space, and I saw the cattle coming down the pathway there, and just this space that we're in right here, it really does bring back what it must have been like at the turn of the century when your grandparents or your husband's grandparents built this place. So yes. What a beautiful story. And these thousands of acres are still in the family, and you're cattle ranchers and loving it here. And so, tell us a little bit about what's happened over the last year in terms of people coming across the border, and how has that impacted you and your family?
Well, really would like to start way back. For years and years, we've always had illegal aliens coming across. And at one time, they were able to hire them to do work, and they would get a green card, and they would be able to stay. But in the last few recent 20 years, that has not been the case, maybe even 30 years. Where the illegal immigration coming across was, you couldn't hire them, you couldn't touch them, but they were different. They were people that we would run in the house and we would get them food, or my husband would take them shoes, or they would be so tired they would say, "Could you please call someone to come pick us up?" And we're like, oh, compassion, sure. And we have humanity. Humanity's the bedrock of our nation is we treat each other with kindness and compassion and empathy. But things have changed. And in this area that we live in, we are seeing, just an onslaught of migration coming across.
So we are on your ranch and we're taking a walk. We see the great cattle around us, and you're going to take us to a place where this is your property, where illegals are coming over and they're camping out essentially on your property. Yeah. So this has become a real issue. You know, in a sense that you've got to really, you don't know who you're dealing with. You don't know what kind of action someone could take against you, so you have to protect yourself.
Right.
Let's take a look and see what we find.
Okay. We normally in the past have not had to, have sidearms with us, but most of us nowadays, we have sidearms because you don't know really what's coming across the border. In the past, we haven't had much of a problem, but you never know with as many that are coming across right now. But I've found illegals right here a number of times, and our windmill approximately a mile away. They're traveling. There's the DPS and Border Patrol put cameras.
Wow.
Along this road too.
Okay, so cameras are along this road here, installed by DPS.
Right.
Because they like to walk like where we're walking. That's what they like to walk. That's
Well, yeah, because they're not worried about snakes that much out here.
animals in the bush. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we are between two fairly larger cities that have they have National Guard, they have more law enforcement, and so we're considered what is known as a gap. So we're the gap between these two fortified areas. So what we're getting here are people that don't want to be caught.
That's right.
They don't want to be caught. The people that are coming across with children, maybe not their own, they're going to Del Rio, they're hopping on a bus, and they're getting bused to a place to get another bus ticket or a plane ticket to somewhere in the United States other than here. So that is where we are right now with the immigration. I do recognize we need some type of immigration reform, because the way it is set up right now, people that are trying to gain citizenship for 2 years, they can't have a job. They can't work. So
Sure.
We're really like diminishing this natural way for really great people that want to immigrate, that want to work here in the United States. We have diminished that. So I do see the need for some type of reform, but I don't agree with what's happening right now, because it's far more than just illegal immigrants coming across.
This is where I'm told the migrants are dropped off, just above that area there where the hill and the rocky area. You see straight away.
I'll zoom in.
This is the
lower water crossing.
Rio Grande.
And it's easy. It's so easy. And in fact, if we stood here long enough, they're brazen. They'll see us over here and they'll go, what the heck? They'll just come down,
Yep.
cross to that island. They may wait until they think we're not paying attention. But they just walk right across. We were here one day in the middle of the day, a bunch of us, glaringly obvious. And they, no, what the heck? Let's just walk across.
They didn't care.
They didn't care. They don't care at all. As a surgeon, before I transitioned to where I am now, I operated on people that had swallowed drugs as a mule. One of the packets had burst, and they were dying. Now, what is terrible about this? Well, there's several things. One, a person is carrying these drugs and may die doing it. We were able to take the drugs out and save this one person's life, for example. They had this look of despair because they owed the cartel for the drugs that they had lost by being ill and having them removed. How are they going to work off that money? They're going to be sold into sexual slavery? Worse. They'll have a tattoo on that sometimes shows who owns them.
Who owns them? This is modern day slavery.
Modern day slavery. People call it, they talk about, oh, it's just, we should be sorry for the immigrants. No, they're being sold into slavery. We're facilitating slavery by allowing this to occur. Now, that person I mentioned that had swallowed the drugs, if they had died outside the hospital, what do you think the cartel would have done?
Cut the
body.
body.
They would have gutted them.
Absolutely.
To get their drugs. And you think about what sort of human it takes to do this to a person, to do it to a child.
And what we have here, they're criminals. Many of them have backgrounds that are unsavory, that have had their own issues in their own country. We have a reported 158 different countries that have been coming across this border alone.
Wow. And the border is about 10 miles from here,
10,
roughly.
10 miles south.
10
yes.
miles south.
Mhm.
So that's not all that far. A lot of us go out running for 10 miles,
Right.
right? You want to do a 10-mile run. It's not all that far. And so just to go back to that question that I asked earlier in terms of the changes, I know that for years you've dealt with, in some capacity, helping people or recognizing that people were coming over, and it wasn't really all that huge of a problem. Today, are you seeing people? Are you actually seeing them? And what are you finding on your property?
Really great question. Really wonderful question for my husband and my son, because they're out on the ranch and they wander around a lot. And so they do see them. And I have seen them come up to my gate and ask for food. And just the humanity inside of you do that, and you don't want to do that.
Right.
Because all of a sudden they drop a pin and they say, can get food here.
Right.
And so then you end up with a very large, unsafe problem.
Absolutely.
And so you have
because
to be.
you've got to look out for your family, and you can't feed dozens of people each and every day, nor is that your responsibility to do that. But with a kind, good heart that you have, I understand that you've done so much good. And
take this picture, take this sample right here, and then apply this situation to the entire United States.
That's
and what do
right.
you have? You can't feed. You cannot solve the world's hunger and poor economy problem by taking everyone in, because those numbers, even if you take in 2 million people, there are still the populations in other countries are so much greater than ours, and they're impoverished.
Yes.
And so we have to have a steadfast program that allows people who want to come in to be successful, to work. I encourage that. I think that's wonderful. I love all people, all walks of life, but I also believe that America is a place where dreams come true.
Amen.
But they come true through hard work, determination, and grit.
That's absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more, and I know that those listening would fully agree with you there. And your property here is a testament to that fact, and that's why this beautiful space has remained in your family for so many years and generations.
Around here.
I bet.
To the sock.
Yeah. Now, do they use clothing as markers, or just
I
changing?
don't know. I know they were doing tape on the fence line for a while, but yeah, look at this. I mean, I didn't walk all the way back there. There might be a group, but doubt it. Oh, there's the tent, the little tarp.
Oh yeah. Here's a backpack right here.
Uh huh.
There's another backpack there.
Yeah, you might find something in them. I mean, whenever they get picked up by coyotes, I mean, they won't drop a backpack full of money, but
Yeah. No,
when they
I'm
get
not
picked up
looking
with
for money.
coyotes. They normally have a bag of money to pay them off.
Oh.
Yeah, it's wild. And if you needed any more proof that it's not just us being dirty,
Yeah.
they don't sell that in America.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting that they put the leaves on top of that to kind of disguise it a little.
Yeah, look at that. They actually did. They cut laurel down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sad
And
sight,
these things
sure.
are cut, so they're pretty fresh. So whoever did this, it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, they were splitting them though. They didn't chop any of these. They were tearing them down. Yeah.
So we're about 10 miles from the border here, and one of the questions, I think, so that people can better understand what you and others are facing that live in the great state of Texas, close to the border, what are the issues and how are they really impacting you? Explain to us what those issues are.
Well, of course, the number one issue is the illegal immigration coming
Yes.
across that's unaccounted for, that so many of them are not caught. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this issue and why it doesn't transfer out to the world, to the United States. And And I think because it doesn't apply to those people and they don't see it on a day-to-day basis, and they're like, well, why do you have to be prepared? Why do you have a hard time sleeping at night? Why can you not go out and work without fear of someone walking up on you? And I came up with 3 things that really kind of have encapsulated my personal belief with why America needs to be part of this, and the issues that we're facing are their issues as well. And it's faith, family, and borders. Faith, because we were a nation founded on principles that were inalienable. They were God-given rights. And I have faith that our Lord will prevail and make all of this okay. He's letting this happen
The great
for a
healer.
reason.
Yeah.
The great healer, and he's the great justifier, and he's the great judgment as well. And he will take care of all of us, and he will help solve some of these problems because it's his domain. And the second one is family, because America, the heartbeat of America, is family. Don't let mainstream media fool you and make you think that it's not about family, because Virginia is a testament to family.
Amen.
And immigration is a huge issue because it is not coming across. Yes, we have an illegal group coming across. We have the don't want to get caught coming across us. But what is happening is illegal immigration is maybe the greatest distraction of all. Because if you're a family person, you should be concerned because drugs are coming across.
That's right.
Your children are being picked up. They're being trafficked. Children are being trafficked from all over. This is a family problem.
This is an American issue.
And
it's a humanitarian
these drugs
crisis.
have been taking this fentanyl problem. They have been taking out children right and left. If you want a way to destroy a nation and to take over a nation, you get to the heart of the problem. And the heartbeat of America is the family. You tear a family apart and you are able to take over a country and supplant it with a socialism or American Marxism or whatever you might think that is not a capitalistic society, a republic, a democratic republic. And my last one is borders. Borders affect all of us. And when you think about immigrating to another country, you're going through their borders.
Yeah.
And there's a process to that. And we're not asking for people to be inhumane. We're asking for people to have greater compassion for their families, for their faith, and to secure those borders so that we can have an immigration system that works, where we have people that want to come for the dream of America, to have a better society, a better family life. That's why they're coming across.
That's right.
But right now, we have an element that is owned by the cartel.
The DPS confiscated phones from the illegals, and they've got these routes charted, and they know where to camp, where to stop. They know they're close to 131, so they'll get picked up on 131. Often the DPS have found people even giving them food, rides, anything when they get up to the roads.
And so they'll take their clothes off to put fresh clothes on that's given to them by the cartels?
Yeah.
Or
it's probably just personal belongings. And all the videos, I can actually send you a few videos of, a caravan moving through. And when I say caravan, I mean 20 to 30 people all in a line. It's not like you see,
but it's on your property.
That big.
It's right here, literally in your backyard.
Yes, yeah.
This is what you're dealing with.
So it's mostly personal belongings they have in their bags, blankets, things that if they know it's going to be cold, which it has been blankets lately. It's been a tarp, trash bags, clothing. From video footage, I was thinking like, oh, these guys are shipping drugs or something. Their bags are so packed, but it's clothing. They just want to change out of it.
It's white.
I think it's just flour for baking. Ooh. But I'm not sure.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm not very good at identifying drugs, but whatever it is, it was a huge quantity in a little bag like this.
That might be.
I don't know. That's welcome to the border.
Yeah, you don't know if any of the folks that are coming through are leaving behind dangerous substances.
Well, yeah, if they don't want to get caught with it.
Exactly. If they get caught with drugs, that's a bigger deal than just getting caught illegally.
Than just getting
crossing.
caught.
Yeah.
So they could dump, and here you found, or you're seeing something that looks suspicious.
It could be. I would think they would secure drugs better than that, and that was just in a grocery bag, just cooking supplies, flour.
Okay.
I think. I'm not sure, but just from looking at it, I can't imagine they'd drop that. But it does look like they got out of here in a hurry. We do find full bags of food, so they were probably raided in the past few nights by DPS, who know this area well. That's why I'm not going to clean it up right now. I'm not just being lazy. I'm not going to clean it up right now. So it gives them a sense of this place is
Safe.
is untouched. It
Right.
is safe. So we'll, we know that our guys have been here. We're going to continue to cycle through here, and word will get back. If they get deported, they'll X this place out. It'll be off the map, and then they'll find a new place to camp off the roads. But for right now, they say it's been good for them. One of the DPS officers, he hasn't been keeping count, but he said he's caught somewhere between 200 and 300 on our property.
That is
Well,
coming
that's-
across.
Well, that's the difference, and I think that's the difference that you pointed out. What things looked like 3, 4, 10 years ago versus today. And, we have to question, and I think it's a fair question for American people to say, why is the Biden administration turning a blind eye? It almost feels as if he's aiding and abetting in these criminal acts, because Lisa, thank you for pointing it out. It is not just a border state issue. This is a national issue. Whether you live up north in New York, I'm in New York, and we had flights of unaccompanied minors, children that were dropped off in the state of New York. And, that just breaks my heart, because that these families are being separated. So many of the young people coming over are not, it's not good intentioned. In other words, these drug cartels are selling human trafficking.
They're owned.
That's right. And then
this
they're
is the
obligated.
nation's greatest little secret, isn't it?
That's right.
Because this is modern day slavery. They're owned, they're tagged, ankles, wrists. They have 4 phones with them. They are told GPS-wise where to go next. They are owned by them. At what point will they be asked to call to arms? To pay back for them? We're taking our country, and we're weakening its stronghold that we have. We're endangering all of our families.
So this is all that has been installed. Only 1 mile of this type of fencing, which is really razor sharp fencing, but you can see it's very easy still for folks to cross through or cut. So another option is to double it up here, where they've got 2 strands of this fencing, which is called concertina wire, and this is 2 strips of it. Next to it here is what they call the most effective way of using this concertina wire, and that is to have 2 strands at the bottom, and then to place another on top, which is tied down with barbed wire, so that all 3 are connected, making it very difficult or harder for people to pass. Unfortunately, these are really not very effective. What we're hearing is that they're still getting through, they're cutting their way through. And this is being done by military under Governor Abbott's Title 32, which is state law, versus federal law under Title 10, which has not been imposed here, which would be if this were deemed a national security issue and handled by the federal government. But we know the federal government is completely turning a blind eye, leaving everything and putting everything in the hands of Texas and Texans. And so this is what we've got. This is the wall, folks. This is what they're looking to construct. So we're here. We're on the United States side. Just across the Rio Grande River here is Mexico. This area here is where they are dropped off, where the migrants are dropped off here, just above that rocky hill. And the water, I'm told, is only about 3 feet high at its highest. They walk straight away here onto private property and go ahead and cross. We want to bring in some folks that are real experts on the matter. Let's have a chat.
You can see it's a well-worn path, and they turn up through that cane. Just head up to the clearing, and that's where that young woman.
Just
and her-
along here, where that sugar cane is.
Well, that's carrizo
Or
cane.
carrizo
Not
cane.
at
All
all.
right.
It looks it, doesn't it?
That's
It is.
too bad.
It is. Well,
And these are the clothes that are left here just
yeah. Don't look at
just
those.
from those folks that are recently here. Take a look at that. Some life preservers, some swimmy vests for children. Look at the little tiny shoes here. Unbelievable. Those belong to probably a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old. Or some young child for sure.
Walk through that cane. It is near impenetrable for you or I to go through the cane.
Is it really? What is
It's
it?
dense. I mean, you can get through it,
Sure.
but you can't go quickly. And someone can be hiding just a few feet away from you, and you don't necessarily see them. Get on horseback. You're suddenly taller than the cane. People get out of the way of the horse. The horse doesn't want to step on anyone. You actually make it safer by having a horse. But no, they don't like that. And you know, the split reins that they're using, no, they're not using them to whip people. They're using them to control the horse. It needs to be a long rein. And so that's what works well in cane. It's just common sense.
That's
If
right.
Any
That's
rancher
absolutely right.
knows this.
I agree with you, Lisa, that this is a humanitarian crisis. It's a national crisis. It doesn't just affect our southern states or the border states, but rather all states, all 50 states, because we see what's happening. Drugs are reaching northern states, and lives are being trafficked. And again, I'll say it again, it breaks my heart that we have a president in the United States who hasn't made the time to come here. And this is why we're here. We wanted to be here to because our members are concerned and they want to understand what issues we're facing and how to fix it. You know, what is the best? So do you have any suggestions along those lines? What, in your opinion, could or should be done?
Well, it would just take the stroke of a pen for President Biden to sign an executive order to have the Remain in Mexico policy.
Reinstate
I think
that,
that was already passed, though, wasn't it? So Supreme Court upheld and instructed him to follow the Remain in Mexico policy, and he's denied that. So at what point do you hold an administration accountable for their actions when they're going against constitutional law?
Very good point. That is a great point. And that is the frustration. And I think it's really a righteous anger in a sense, because you mentioned we care about people, we love people. And as Christians, I think that, that's part of our calling, right? We want to help people and have compassion on people, but we have to be strong and understand that this is not the folks that are coming over, that are sneaking by, that are leaving behind footprints that they've been here, are doing things that are illegal. For example, you've had people trespassing your property, you've had your fences cut, you've had cattle that has been found over at your neighbor's place and that
Right.
sort of thing.
Killed on the road, run over.
And how are you
So-
really protecting yourself?
We have more Second Amendment things happening at our house than
Good.
we have in the past, although it's been something that we were raised with. And so also a member of the NRA.
Wonderful.
And I'm secretary of our gun club here. And so we use that constitutional right to its fullest. We still feel like we would be a victim, even if the unthinkable happened, we would still be victimized, but yet we would be the criminal.
Yes.
So in this situation, because even though it happened on your property, the one safe place that we have is our home. And if it were breached, we would still fear that some retribution would happen towards us.
But they do carry knives. I found a few knives out here. Oh, yeah. They just drop them out of their pockets. But I don't actually feel threatened by them until you see a large group. And even if they're docile, if you see a group of 15 to 20, it's wild, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I carry a gun not to use,
Right.
of course. It's a deterrent, you know. They see that, they'll put their hands up
Right.
and come to you and be like, help me out.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, of course.
And-
But whenever you're not punishing people who come over with a child,
Yeah.
you know, it's easy to see what it's doing. It's promoting child kidnapping almost. If they need a child, if they don't have one, it's a good way to claim asylum.
Right. Exactly. So they'll just grab a child at convenience.
And you said so yourself. You've seen it where they discard them.
Yeah.
They have no association or care or love for the child.
Right.
It's nothing to leave them out in the wilderness
Right.
to them. Yeah. And my dad was actually approached by a family a while back. You know, a mother, and they had a kid. And you're not sure if they're
Right.
actually related or not. It's a sad thing to see that the children have to make a trek like this.
Yeah.
You don't want to see it, but I can't let, you know, a soft heart get in
Right.
the way of
Right, because then what your mom
securing a
says,
border.
if you give them food and water, then they pin your ranch
They
and
do.
say, hey,
Yeah.
you can come here, and they're nice, they'll give you water.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
and then just being a kind-hearted person works against you, and all of a sudden you got waves of people showing up at your ranch. You're like on their exit map.
Yeah,
now,
there,
you know?
there was a lady who lived out in the country close to the town we're near here, and she was giving hospitality to the illegals, and they knew to stop at that location, and one group wasn't so kind, stole one of her vehicles, had her dogs in it, left her dogs in the vehicle when they bailed out.
Right.
The dogs died of
Because
heat
the
exhaustion.
heat exhaustion, yeah. Wow.
And you know, she's at a loss. You can't
Yeah.
you know, you can't gamble and be like, well, I'm being a good Samaritan
Right.
to
Yeah.
people who you're not exactly sure of their motives,
Yeah.
or why they want to come across, or you know, how they're coming across is yeah, it's dangerous.
But we would do what we would need to do to take care of our family, and that's just the
You'd
the
have to.
fear
It's-
that's in here.
You have to defend yourself.
We went for years. We did not lock our doors. I left my keys in the car, in the key
Right.
ignition. I left my purse in the car. Never took it out for years. It wasn't until last October that first time in our life, we locked our door.
Interesting.
And I couldn't sleep at night. And
Oh.
I'm like, there is still part of me that is always awake. There's always a gun beside me. And my husband sleeps fine because he's like, no, you're the one that's always awake. You know?
Well, this is the stuff that the administration needs to hear about. They need to understand that there are good, honest, law-abiding American citizens whose lives are really upended because of the threat that really is presented here. Can you tell us, Lisa, how effective, in your opinion, has DPS or the Texas National Guard been? And do you have communication? Are they aware of the vulnerability here on your own property, and have they been helpful?
Oh my goodness, they have. Haven't really seen National Guard. I met one the other day. The DPS has stepped in, and they're working in conjunction with our local sheriff and our deputies, and they have assured us that they could be here in a moment's notice.
Wonderful.
And he
yeah.
said, you know, that won't happen, not under our watch. So we are thankful
Yes.
for our law enforcement. They are always there for us. Now, some of them have been stretched thin,
Yeah.
and they have called. We do have some officers that have come in from another city that are here to help out. We're just stretched thin, and it's you know, we may have to defend ourselves before they can get here.
That's
but
right.
They are so they've got our backs, and they're here. They meet with us. They text. He did text me. He called me about a week ago, and our contact through DPS, and he said, "Don't go outside." He goes, "What? We've got 4 groups coming across," and he said, "We're really." He goes, "Can y'all stay in your house tonight?" And so that was the first time in our entire. And to be free in America
That's right.
comes
to
at
get that call.
comes at a price, that says stay inside your house.
Now these homes, they look abandoned.
Some of them are.
And I imagine this home over here on my left is abandoned in part because this is no way for an American
It's dangerous.
to live.
It's
Too dangerous.
There are. We saw, for example, up there a lady and a child, a woman and her child. We assume it's her child. You think, well, they can't be much of a threat. But there are people that are bad threats, that are clearly
Yes.
someone that could take advantage of you, and people are scared to do that. When you feel uncomfortable leaving your home
Yeah.
and going out on your own, just to walk out on your porch, that's no way
That's
to
no
live.
way to
And so
live.
people are making decisions that while they haven't sold their property, they haven't abandoned their property, they're not living there, they're living somewhere else. There's a young lady I know, she has been very active. Her husband's in the Border Patrol. She's running for the United States Congress. And she moved her family away, her children away, sent them to live with grandparents because she is so concerned for their safety. But many of these folks have moved either into town or parts north. There are families that own land along the border who have been away for well over a year, and that's no good. Sometimes they'll come back and they'll find someone who's moved into their home, and they've used it as a transit point. And so suddenly the folks that are sneaking around and crossing the border and trying to make their way into the country will just take advantage of the empty building and set up shop for a while. They'll stay there for a day or two and move on, and then it'll be pinned on a Google map that the next crop will see, the next group will see. And once they come across this sign, they have broken the law.
And they can have
I mean, they've broken state law.
Yeah.
They're broken law when they come across, but see, they'll gather here and they'll just walk up along here, and sometimes, depending on the current state of affairs, we have to wait for them to be nabbed by Border Patrol. Supposedly, and you need to confirm this with folks, if our DPS interacts with them without them having broken a state law, it's been strongly worded, implied that maybe they'll be accused of violating the law by that very act. They hear it from them. That's who you need to talk to for that. But they just right on up here.
Oh boy, I just
Yeah.
can't imagine.
And it's daily.
Yeah.
It's daily.
People need to understand that this is a real serious problem, and even with all of the great resources that Texas has put in place and the bravest men and women that are standing up to try to prevent American citizens from being harmed, and really do everything they can as well to catch those that are bringing fentanyl over, to catch those who are human trafficking. We applaud them. And again, this is where we look forward to meeting with some of them tomorrow. You mentioned earlier that there were some cameras around installed on your property. Was that done by DPS?
Yes.
And that's so that they can, in fact, help surveil.
Right. They know where to go,
These-
where they're coming in, and their path, and they're able to arrest them. And so here in Texas, here in this county, we were asked if we wanted to file trespassing charges. And so everyone that I know has done that. That's a landowner. And so the county, the sheriff, he steps in and they make that happen, as well as DPS. So they're actually charged with trespassing.
Yeah.
And
That's a good thing.
And if they catch them on camera with cutting the fence, that's a felony. So there are a few little teeth in this. We would like for Governor Abbott to have a fourth special session, which I don't think he's going to, but we would love for House Bill 141 and 142 to make it to his call list. And in that, it gives the DPS and the local county sheriff's office a way to apprehend these individuals with a felony charge, and then it prevents them from ever becoming a United States citizen. So this would be a great bill to pass. Not sure if it's going to make it into legislation this summer, but this coming year. So it'll have to be in the next year's session.
Well, that's what we need. We certainly need to see that happen at the very least. If we're going to leave the border open, there's got to be some sort of and of course we're hearing from Joe Biden that the border is not open, that it's closed. That's not true.
It does beg the question, because we're thinking that the story is not getting out there. That is there a problem here? It's not right in someone's backyard, so
Right.
It's not a problem for them. But they do know. They're aware of this. There are millions of people. So what does President Biden want when he allows this many people to come across? Because they know they're coming. They probably
sure
have
do.
more accurate numbers than we do. So when you look at 1 million, 2 million people coming across, that becomes a burden on society.
Yes.
And then the government steps in and they take care of them. And that's exactly that's part of their plan. That's part of their agenda. They want to have a mass group of people that
will vote for them.
That will, they say that's one of the popular things that would come out of that, but also to become dependent. So when you become dependent, then you tax the heck out of the rest of the people so that they will fund all of these people living off of nothing, no work. They're living in the shadows, actually, because he wants amnesty for them. But when you do that, then all of a sudden you're taxing these people. We can't build up any wealth. We can't build up to hold on to land. So they really don't want people to have anything.
It's just mind-boggling that the administration could just completely walk away from their main responsibility
Conscience,
to protect the American
convenience.
people.
It's convenient. They do what's easy, and then they try to play on everyone's sympathy.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sympathetic to all of these folks
Right.
that are not criminals. I'm sympathetic to them. I'm sympathetic to the point that I want them to go to the border and
That's
do it
right.
legally,
Do it
check
the
in,
right
do it the
way.
right way. That's where convenience loses to conscience. Conscience needs to step up and say, we have to do it the right way. But our administration, they're just doing it what's easy. They're just taking a shortcut. Are they trying to change the voting demographic, as some people say? Maybe. I think they're just, pardon my language, too damn lazy to do the right thing.
I agree.
They want to
them to
create
be-
an entitlement state.
Right. Yes.
They want to create
Yes.
an entitlement state.
Yes.
And the more dependent we are on government, it's like a drug, right?
Mhm.
The weaker we become, the less able we are to make good decisions. This is a ranch that has been in your family for generations. And the thought of it not remaining in your family for generations to come is probably just a very sad thought, right?
Mhm.
And so we wonder what more is the government going to do that prevents you from being able to pass on
Right.
property and this great ranch that we're
Taxing,
That's it.
inheritance tax, but bringing back those things that keep you from being able to pass it on to your children,
Right.
even though you pay taxes on it every year.
That's right.
Then there's
They're gonna
another
get you
double
at the
tax on
end.
there. But it's kind of, America wasn't founded on that. That's not the principle that America was founded on. It was founded on you can climb that ladder and you can get out of despair. And the big key to it is education. We
That's
need to
right.
educate and don't pay for our education.
You're
We
an
work-
educator.
I worked my way
Yes.
through school. I worked from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and went to college and took late afternoon and evening courses. That is how you get out of out of despair. And everybody has that opportunity. It doesn't have to be free. And why should it be free? Because we see what that kind of freedom brings. It brings laziness. We cannot get truck drivers.
Complacency.
We can't get people to work because it's all, we'll just give you a check. We gave you $1,400.
Right.
That should be enough. And
Yeah.
we'll just tide you over with a little bit
Right.
every sewing along the line. And here's your money. And now you'll do what we want you to do. But we're paying for this for you. And then
Yeah.
you become dependent on that. You become lazy. And America was not founded on that. It was founded on ingenuity, on grit. And we need to hold true to that. And what country doesn't follow their constitution and their doctrine? And how do you hold them accountable for not following it? And
Well,
how
we've
does
got-
Texas has stepped in and they said, we're going to build another fence. We're going to build another little section of wall that, if we cannot get everybody on board to secure the border, then we need to step in and do that.
That's right. I have to say, Lisa, one of the best things about being here is this sweet tea. It is absolutely delicious. It's the greatest sweet tea I've ever had. Thank you for sharing this with us. She gave you the recipe.
Yes, you steep your tea.
So even the tea passed down through the generations. This is wonderful.
Rebecca, you've been so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank
This
y'all
is
for
great.
This is the first time I've done this. This is the first time we've had anyone here at our place. We welcome our home anytime to anyone, especially people that are trying to get the word out, that are
our hearts
conservative
there.
at heart. Yes. And as I said, I keep going back to the heartbeat.
I love that.
We have America. We are the heartbeat of America.
Yeah.
Faith, family, and borders.
Oh, I love it. Matter of fact, I've got my wristlet on, and it says faith, family, freedom.
Oh,
I love the way that
it.
you're,
Yes.
and certainly, but
Love
I
that.
you
I
give
didn't
us-
know. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
It just laid on my heart the other night for faith, family, and borders, and I'm like, because I started thinking, why is this not reaching everyone? I'm like, it is, but it's played down, and so why are they not seeing that? If your child is dead because their partner opened up a can of or a prescription of Adderall that's fake Adderall that's laced with fentanyl, even the smell is killing anybody around them.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is affecting all of our children. For those of us that have, teenagers in high school, college, these young people, they're being wiped out.
Yeah.
And this is a huge problem. And when you follow the money, it goes right to this border. So this is not my problem. This is everyone's problem.
This is everyone's problem.
Yeah, what kind of Americans would they make anyways when they just dump that on private property?
Is it pretty unnerving to you to walk around your own property and see this?
Yeah, it's like what really got me was just them calling me and saying, hey, you need to stay in tonight. There's a lot. Last night there's 30 people, or no, it's such a big group. It may have been more than that. They hit both cameras at the same time. That's how long the thing was. So just knowing that, when might one of them think, you know what, I need to go charge my phone. I need to go up to your house. And I'm like, oh no, that's not a good deal.
Because it's progressing, how much?
Yeah, they're closer. So the one last night, he said, they're right on the other side of your house. The group is so long, and they really haven't had to put cameras up near our house, but now they're having to do that because you can see the traffic it's always changing a little bit. They have their routes, but it seems to be we're having daytime and nighttime traffic as well. Even though they might be sleeping during the day, there's a group that might be walking. What are we going to do when the mass exodus from Mexico gets over here? The caravans. So are they going to come in one spot? Are they spreading out along the border so that some of them have a chance of getting through?
If you do what's right, if you do what's tough sometimes, but it is the right thing to do, an immigrant coming across, if they do it the right way, they get the full panoply of right. They get everything that
That's
you and
right.
I get. They're on a path to citizenship, and they can enjoy everything that any citizen
Right.
can enjoy.
Right.
They do it illegally. They've condemned themselves to a life in the shadows.
Sure.
And that's no way. Who can wish that on someone?
You would never want to see that.